All right, this week we're going to talk about some sweeps from the bottom. In particular, we'll talk about a flower sweep. There's a flower sweep and a pendulum sweep and something else, and they're kind of all the same thing and also kind of different. So I'm going to tell you my best recollection of how they were introduced to me and then how I combine them together. So a flower sweep, from what I understand, I'm going to take this arm and bring it across my body while I reach this arm under his leg. Now what's important here is that this knee gets up to his armpit. If my knee stays down at his hip, Russell's not going anywhere. But if my knee gets up to his armpit, now I can push him that direction where he has no post. If I push him straight out, he can widen his base, and that's really hard for me to finish. But if I come here, now traditionally, I think a flower sweep is like a back extension up. I'm flowering up, and I come up on top. Right? The other version of that, a pendulum sweep, just like its name. I come out, I swing this leg out, and then I pull it down and underneath me as I kick down. And we get a little more momentum off of that one. And I land in this great tech mount position, soon to be S mount, because I'm me. So I like to think that it's actually both of those things simultaneously. I'm pendulum swinging my leg as I'm hip extending up. It's a lot of motions at once, so if only one of those makes perfect sense to you at first, start there and add the other one. The most important thing is that I'm not knocking him sideways. I have to get my head all the way to his knee so we can go this direction. So whether it's an extension or I swing this in, doesn't really matter, as long as we're going this direction. So we're coming up on our knee back here and into this S mount, and then we'll talk about all kinds of fun chokes, arm bars, all kinds of things in the S mount position. The last version of this that I really like is if someone's hunkering down in my guard and I can drive this hand to the other side of my body but can't quite get to their back, I'm going to put them in a gift wrap from bottom. So from here, my pendulum sweep, my flower sweep doesn't have to be good at all. I can do all the wrong things. I can reach underneath and just simply go forward. And now we've landed in top with a gift wrap. This is pretty terrible. One of the ways you might find this often is off of a failed arm bar. That's pretty typical. And it kind of makes going for this closed guard arm bar feel a little safer. Because if as I set up this arm bar, Russell starts to pull his arm out, I can eject and start pushing him over into the flower sweep. And then we don't get all of our things. It's a lot of details in there. The biggest one is the angle you take and being able to push them over and unburying yourself in their guard. A lot of times when we do these attacks, if I'm buried hip to hip with him and I try and turn, it's all bad. But as I come out and I go away from his hips, if you look at the distance between my hips and his knees, now I have the ability to start turning, right? This also works off of a failed omoplata. I wanted this omoplata, but he's straightening out his arm, and then we can hip up and finish it. So we'll talk about all those principles this week, and then some continuations once we land in that tech mount, S mount position.